Hi there, is this going to be a first weigh or re-weigh?
Re-weigh.
And what's the 4-digit number on the lower left-hand corner of the ticket?
Looks like 8948.
That's 8948?
That's right.
Alright, I have that ticket printed out inside. Come on in and get it.
Thank you. All right, so this is my Sequoia Sunset Trail way. I have my Equalizer 4 hitch set up. This was with the empty truck, 3320 on the front axle, and this was with the weight distribution on the way I had set up. It's still removing 320 pounds from the front axle. And then you can see here without any weight distribution at all, it's 2880. So the way my weight distribution is set up, it's only returning 120 pounds to the front axle and only looks like 60 pounds to the trailer, so only just under 200 pounds total. And that's with 7 washers. Those bars, when hooked up, are parallel, and that's with 7 washers. So I'm going to take this hitch head off, and I'm going to put the 8th washer in and adjust that bar down a little bit, create more tension, and see how that affects the weight. Don't forget this bolt under here, that sets the weight for that thing to come down. Something else that tells you within limits, you can see by loosening that bolt, it allows the head to pivot this way. And as long as that hole is within this limit, as far as the angle on these bars, you can be reasonably assured that you're within limits. So all this does is slide out theory. I'll do it now. Let you know. So now I'm going to tighten that bolt on the bottom, which will raise these bars. And I'll tighten everything up and take it back through. All right, here's all the numbers for my 2014 Sequoia Platinum and my 2016 Crossroads Sunset Trail 28 or ST27, so 28-foot bunkhouse about. So keep in mind here throughout this whole video, the gross vehicle, the max weight of the truck is 7,300 pounds. So that's basically a truck without anything hooked to it. So the empty weight of the truck is less, so all people, cargo, everything in there, the max the truck can weigh is 7,300 pounds. The other key weight is the rear axle weight. Gross axle weight rear is max of 4,280. So when you drop the trailer receiver onto the back, it increases that. The gross combined between both, meaning the truck and the trailer, can be 13.6 max. That's the rating. That's gross combined weight rating. The maximum tow rating is 7,100. That's the max the trailer can weigh and still be legal. That's the 2807 compliant, the SAE, Society of Automotive Engineers, they created that standard years ago. It used to be 10,000, then they created these standards that aren't, it's not just engine power. Most people consider towing rating with engine power. Actually, that's about the least factor. It's the suspension, it's the braking, maneuvering, and actually braking is somewhat overrated too. All the braking is assumed to be done by a trailer. So your the tow vehicle brakes stop the tow vehicle, the trailer brakes stop the trailer brakes. Some other things in that standard is meaning that the parking brake has to be able to hold this much weight on a certain percent incline, etc. Again, it's called the J2807 standard if you're interested in that. So the empty truck, and by empty I mean with me in it, and I loaded it up with enough bags of water softener salt for my family and a little bit extra by about 30 or 40 pounds. This is how much the truck weighed when I first went through the scale, 6,660 pounds. And you can see that weight here. 3,320 pounds was on the front axle, 3,340 was on the back. So when you look at the 4280 rear axle rating, I had about 940 pounds available. So you would think by putting an 800 pound tongue weight on there that you would be just fine, right? Actually, that's not the case. So here was my second rating. When you drop something onto the back, you lift up the front and you take weight off the front. So you can see here, my tongue weight I measured was the difference between this 6660 and then these two axles here, which equal tongue weight equaled 840 pounds. So I put 840 pounds on the hitch, and it took 320, 420, 440 pounds off my front axle. So that creates light steering, that creates a vague feeling, and then also looked here, 4620, it increased my rear axle weight by almost 1,300 pounds, 1,290 pounds. So 840 pound tongue weight increased my rear axle weight by 1,300 pounds, because it's not just the tongue weight of the trailer, but the amount of weight it's lifting off the nose. So now I was over by 160, well, more than that. That math must be wrong. About 340 pounds over my rear axle weight. This is with the weight distribution of the torsion bars disconnected. So the idea is those torsion bars lift the weight and reapply it to the front axle to regain some of that steering effectiveness and weight distribution. So I went back through the scale, and then I did it with the weight distribution on the way I've been towing for the last couple of years. Now you can see the front axle is 3,000 pounds. It was 3,300 empty, so it still pulled off 320 pounds. Only 120 pounds better than with no weight distribution at all. So 120 pounds went back onto the front axle, and then if you look at the trailer rating, the trailer was 5520, and then it only put 60 pounds there. So between the two of them, we're looking at about 180 pounds taken off the hitch and taken off the rear axle and distributed both to the front axle on a tow vehicle and back onto the trailer axle. Not quite enough. In theory, you're supposed to return the front fender height to the original, which would assume you would have the same weight rating. So in theory, this number should be close to this 3320 when it's empty. It's obviously not. I didn't have enough weight distribution hooked up. So I added one more washer thinking that would make it better. Well, you can look here, one more washer on Equalizer 4 only increased the front axle weight by 20 pounds, and from 3,000 to 3,020. And then the back axle from the trailer went from 5,580 to 5,600. So one washer only increased the weight distribution by 40 pounds. That was still not enough. So keep in mind here that the total weight of the vehicle the entire time stays the same. 13,040, 13,020, through all of these weight ratings. So that's the total combined vehicle. And you can see that I'm under that by about 600 pounds. And you can also see that the trailer max is 7,100. We got about, here we've got about 5,500 plus a 800 pounds tow rate. We're about 6,300 pounds. So the trailer was 6,300 pounds, the max is 71. So I'm 800 pounds or about 750 pounds under my max there, and I'm under my max combined. But set here, even with the weight distribution the way I had it set up, I was still over my rear gross axle weight by, again, 42, let's see, what was it? 4280 is the max axle weight, and I was at 4460. So given that condition, I was still over by 180 pounds on my rear axle. Now, keep in mind I was a bit heavy, This was an 840 pound tongue weight, which at the weight I was at was a 13.2%. I normally set it up for about a 700 pound tongue weight. I have a tongue scale, which I weigh before I go out. I had my generator in the front. I had some other things in the front, which I normally don't have. So normally my tongue would be about at least 100 pounds lighter. So given that, the 100 pounds off of the tongue, I was basically probably right at 4,300, which is what I was before in years prior when I had measured. So I was just measuring it this year just to see where I was at. But I know from years past, I knew I wasn't returning enough weight to the front axle. And again, I tried to move a washer, that wasn't enough. So then I completely lifted my L brackets, which you saw in the other video. It raised my torsion levers or my weight distribution bars about 1 inch. And now look at the difference. My front axle was 3,020. Now it went up to 3,220. So 200 pounds went to the front axle. So that's 200 pounds off the rear axle. And then you can see the trailer went from 5,600 to 5,660. So 60 pounds went to the trailer. So all in all, moving those brackets up one hole distributed 260 pounds both to the front and to the trailer axle. And look what it did here. Now all of a sudden I'm under my max trailer weight by 120 pounds. Max is 4,280. Now I'm at 4,160. And again, this is with a little extra tongue weight by about 100 pounds. So this is probably around 4,100 pounds, more typical the way I tow. But something to keep in mind here, my total weight here is 7,380. My max weight on this vehicle is only 7,300. So I'm overload by 80 pounds. Now, again, that being said, I had probably over 100 pounds I normally don't have on the tongue. And I also had probably 50 or 80 pounds of stuff in the truck I normally don't have. I kind of loaded it a little bit fat just to kind of see where I was. So I'm still probably right at my max as far as this, still under the gross axle weight rating by 100 pounds at least, under my combined weight rating, under my tow rating by about 500 or 600 pounds. But you can see even being under all these, I was in very close, and I was close to being over my rear axle rating. So at the end of the day, when I moved all that stuff, I had 3220 on the front steering axle compared to 3320 originally. So it's still a little bit light, but it's within 100 pounds. I think that's pretty good considering how I was driving before. I'm not really interested in changing it much more. The drive axle went from, well, I'm not gonna say with no weight distribution, went from 4,460 to 4,160. So it removed 300 pounds, got me back within limits there. And then put some of the weight from 5,580 back to the trailer there, and then there's my max weight of 13,000 pounds there. So that's it. I hope this helps. And in the video, there's some more information on how to go through the scales and what to do. Primarily, the first time through the scales, about $10 or $12. You give them your license plate number, you pull off, and then you go in and you pay. Then you come back out, you drive back onto the scales, it's a reweigh, and normally it's only $2, and you give them this 4-digit code, which you probably saw in one of the video, and each additional weigh within 24 hours is only $2. So that's, I did all 5 of these for about 20 bucks, and it took me about 2 hours.